Hi, this is Champlet2 with another bunker tips and tricks video. Today we're featuring the 5-drop Insurgent. I'm going to show you how I like to do this one, especially for the ones that start wherever there's going to be potentially gang activity, because you got a whole lot of guys shooting at you on top of trying to take out the Merryweather guys. It's nice to have a little extra assistance. So I call in for backup. I get a weaponized vehicle to help me out. My weaponized vehicle of preference is the APC. Now you don't have to use the APC, you can use a lot of different things. You could use an Oppressor Mark II, or a Buzzard, or a Deluxo, or a half-track. There's all kinds of options you can use. I just happen to prefer the APC. And just for the sake of discussion, you may have seen on the map there, my first drop was at Madrazo's Ranch, which is really super close to the farmhouse. So if you have the farmhouse bunker, you're just right down the street from Madrazo's. But since I'm over here at Chumash, I've got to go clear across town. And the map first, the GPS suggested that I should go up north and go around. But I've timed that. I've also timed cutting straight across through the hills. And I've timed coming down here through the city and found that because the roads were wider and such, it was a lot faster to just come down through the city. It really doesn't make sense because it looks like it'd be longer, but I guess because it's so much faster, you know, I'm not really slowing down nearly as much because there aren't as many turns and the roads are wider. I can just weave in and out of traffic. So it turns out I actually get there quite a bit faster going this way. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip ahead and get a little bit closer to the first drop, and we'll pick up from there. Now here we are coming up on Madrazo's Ranch, and you have a couple of options when you want to order a vehicle to help you out. The one thing that's really nice is you get 30 minutes for this mission, so you got all kinds of time. You really don't have to be in a rush. But what I was saying in terms of options to order your vehicle, you can either order it before you get to the yellow dot, some wheels? Or if you drive all the way up to the yellow dot, don't drop your weapons yet. Jump out of the vehicle and order it there. You can't call the mechanic while you're sitting in the vehicle in the yellow dot. That's the thing you need to know. And like I was saying, it's better to get it ahead of time, so that way you can just drop the weapons and jump right in the vehicle. Now, I know from experience that the mechanic always brings it all the way down here on the main highway. It's either going to be over here by the main entrance, or there's another entrance just a little bit to the north, depending on where you were when you requested it. So you're going to have to run down here and get whatever your vehicle is and bring it up there. So I've got my APC, and I'm going to bring it up here and park it right next to my Insurgent. What I usually like to do is, especially if I think I'm going to be attacked right away, I like to turn my Insurgent in such a way that the driver's door is close to the vehicle that I'm going to get into. That way I won't spend a whole lot of time where I can get shot, you know, I'll have a little more protection. So that's why I'm turning the Insurgent around here, so I've got a little better angle at getting to my APC quickly. The only really downside of the APC is that you have to switch back and forth from the driver's seat to the passenger seat in order to operate these missiles, but they are serious missiles. When you get to the point where you have the Insurgents coming after you, you can really take them out with just 2 shots with this thing. It takes like 6 or 7 with the compressor. Now you might notice here when I'm shooting across this little garden thing there, see the flames raising up? In story mode, there's a tree in that center island. And that's why I was having trouble shooting the gang guys here at Madrazo's house, because it was shooting the tree that's not there. And I couldn't get the missiles through that tree to get to the guys. And see, it's happening again. I'm shooting that tree. It's right in the middle of that island. Now, there's a guy there. If you saw, I didn't shoot really close to that guy. You can blow them up if they're on foot. If you shoot near them, they'll go flying up in the air and die, you don't actually have to hit them directly. And the reason I say that is, you don't want to shoot too close to your insurgent. You can blow it up. It's not easy to do. It doesn't happen very often. And sometimes it can take a direct hit and still not blow up. But it is best to avoid the flames and to avoid shooting too close to it. Now see this guy, he pulled right up next to me. If I had stayed there, he could have shot right through the windows and got me. So I backed up really quick and took him out. And now just for fun, I like to clear out all the gang guys before I go. This one's a really good one. I'm going to shoot kind of close to him and watch him fly. There he goes. But yeah, in case you didn't know that, there's actually a tree there in that center island, so you gotta work around that. Now, one mistake I made here, see where my insurgent is parked and where I dropped the weapons? If I wanted to back up, that'd be a little bit awkward to back over that case. Thankfully, I'll just drive down here through the grass and it doesn't matter. So generally what I do whenever I'm coming up to one of the drop-off points for the 5-drop Insurgent, I like to turn the vehicle around and drop the weapons behind me. So that way I know when I'm ready to leave, that's not going to be an issue. They're always going to be behind me and I'm not going to have to get around them or over them. Another thing I like to do, especially if I don't call for my vehicle, like on this next one, I'm not going to call for my APC. I usually only call for it either if there's going to be gang guys where I'm at and I need a little extra armor and a little extra firepower, or if there's going to be helicopters that aren't easy to get to. So this one doesn't have either one of those and I'm not going to call for it. What you'll see me do, see how I'm backing up there? I'm going to drop it as I'm driving forward, which gives me a little more time to get to where I want to get to and jump out. Actually, I didn't do it on the first try. There we go. So I'm going to hit the gas eventually. There it goes. And drop it as I'm moving. It gives me a little bit more time to jump out of the Insurgent and get up into the gunner's position. This one's not too bad, this particular drop. They kind of come up on either side of you. And I like to stay off the road just a little bit so that way they won't drive right up into me. And as you can see, this gun does a pretty good job and it protects you pretty well with that big shield behind you. The main thing you want to focus on when you're doing the 5-drop Insurgent, whoever is closest to you, like this guy that was on the ground to my left, they're the ones that do the most damage to you. So always focus on the guy that's closest to you. Take him out first and you'll get less damage. Ew, I hate the blood streaks in the tires. That's just gross. And I know some people probably think it's silly. You run around here and picking up this cash. It's only like 10 or 12 bucks a piece. But if you go look at your stats over history, how much cash you've picked up, that adds up. There's no point in leaving it there. Might as well, although I did just leave one. You might as well grab it. It's free money, pays for an armor here and there. Why not? So on the 5-drop Insurgents, you do not get a helicopter on the first or the second drop. You can be guaranteed you're not going to get a helicopter on either one of those. The first helicopter comes on the 3rd drop. Now there's some, depending on the routes, there's several different routes for the 5-drop Insurgents. And depending on which route you got, sometimes when you get to the 3rd drop, the helicopter's an easy takedown. So there's no real reason to bring your own vehicle there. This is one of those cases. Where I'm about to go, the helicopter's a pretty easy takedown, so I'm not going to order my APC for this drop either. I'm just going to head over here. Whoops! Boy, those are pretty powerful telephone poles. I'm going to head over here to the end of this street. Now here's another trick that I like to do for this one. The drop is over here on the side. So I'm going to come over here and before I even drop it, I'm going to hit the gas. There we go. as I'm moving, I dropped it and I come over here. This gives me a really nice angle because most of them are coming up the street I just drove up. That's where most of the vehicles will be coming from. Maybe some of them might be to my left. This is the only downside about that helicopter is sometimes he does kind of hide behind that tree and it makes it hard to see if you're actually hitting him or not. That's really the only bad thing. But otherwise, you've really got a great spot here. You can take care of anybody coming up from the left, and you can handle anybody coming at you from the street. Nobody's going to sneak up from behind you. So it's a pretty defensible spot here as compared to over there in that corner. You might have a hard time shooting the helicopter from over there because it could get up above the freeway and take a little cover. So it's much better if you can hit the gas, drop the weapons, and drive over here and jump out. You've got a really great angle from here. That's something you always want to think about when you're doing these drops. You know, when you get to the yellow dot, stop and think about it for a second before you drop the weapons and think about the best angle to shoot the enemies coming at you. And think about whether, based on where you are, whether there's going to be helicopters, whether there's going to be gang guys, do you want some backup? You can order one of your weaponized vehicles. Now this next one is at the Mega Mall. And depending on the time of day, but pretty much any time of day, there's going to be ballast guys hanging around there because this is their neighborhood. So I know to expect them. Now you can get up in the gunner's position and you can deal with the gang guys just like you can the Merryweather guys. But the ballast guys tend to get up to you a little closer, a little quicker than the Merryweather guys do. And what really makes no sense to me is it seems like the ballast guys, their weapons are a little more damaging. I don't know for what reason that is, but I can take a couple of shots from a Merryweather guy better than I can take a couple of shots from a ballast guy because they end up doing a lot more damage and I have no idea why. Now I brought you over here to look at this fence. That fence is a little taller than you might think. And with the APC, you can't really shoot over that fence with the APC, and you can't shoot through it either. So you got to be kind of careful where you park your APC, and you might need to wait on the gang guys that are coming from ballast territory to come around the fence so you can get them. I'll show you what I mean when I put this over here. Okay, people, move. Thank you. So I'm going to place it here where I'm relatively close to my Insurgent, so I don't have too far to run. And I know when I do this one that the first helicopter is going to be, well, there's only one helicopter. He's going to be coming from the corner of the Mega Mall building, kind of behind where I am right now. That's another thing I try to do is I try to focus first on the helicopter because he's the one with the most bullets and he's the most lethal. So if I can get the helicopter down, God forbid if I get killed. Oh, actually he didn't come from the side of the building like he usually does. Sorry about that. Anyway, take the helicopter out first every chance you get because God forbid you get killed. It's a whole lot easier to deal with the guys on foot than it is to try to run around that helicopter. So I just sit here and wait for him to come to me. And here's the gang guys. Now see, he came around the fence. And there's another one that came around the fence. And here's a couple of Merryweather guys coming up. Now see, check this out. That Insurgent, 2 hits, gone. That's one of the things I really like about the APC is it's got some fantastic firepower. Now you can see on my mini-map there that the other guy appears to be stuck. So I'm going to have to go after him. Sometimes they do that. It's this particular drop is not usually known for that. There's a couple of them that happens a lot, but this is the first time in a long time I've seen one get stuck somewhere and not come to me. And another gang guy on a motorcycle coming after me. Now here's the funny part. What they do very often is they'll... Oh, I think I dropped a proximity on him. And it got the other guys pretty mad at me. When they're stuck like this, it's funny because once you start getting close to them, they magically get unstuck. And even if you're right there shooting at them, if you're right behind them shooting at them, if you're right behind them, they'll still go back to wherever the drop was. They're just programmed to do that. So even if I was firing at him from right here, which I can't do because I have to get out of the driver's seat to be able to shoot at him, he'll keep going to that drop point. So you just follow him there and he'll eventually stop. And then I can switch over to the missile in the passenger seat and 2 shots. There it goes. Got a couple more gang guys here. I like to take them out just because I don't feel like letting them shoot me. Now here's what I was saying before. See how I'm hitting the fence? It's not, the missile's not really going through the fence. I think I eventually did get this guy here through the fence. Or maybe not. That's kind of an annoyance. If you're in a different vehicle that's either a little bit taller, or if you have like the Deluxo or the Oppressor Mark II, that'd be a little bit easier to deal with that fence issue. But that is something to think about depending on which weaponized vehicle you're using. Let's see, I think this guy, there he is. He's coming around the fence now. It's kind of fun to just blow things up for no particular reason. There we go. And of course, I suppose I could just get out of the vehicle and shoot him, but, you know, it's more fun to use the free ammo in the APC. And I'm not going to bother picking up every piece of cash that anybody dropped, every pile of it, but I'll get a little bit. What the heck? You're there, it's free, it's money. Why not? So there's 4 out of 5. Now on the last one, you get 1 helicopter on the 3rd drop, you get 1 helicopter on the 4th drop. And again, as I said, it's always helpful to try to take the helicopters out first. On the 5th drop, you get 2 helicopters. Now the most important thing, of course, most of you have probably already done these bunker sales, so I'm sure I'm just repeating this information to you, but for those of you who are newer and haven't done them, on the 5th one, when you get out of the vehicle, when you get to the yellow dot, it forces you out of this Insurgent. So you can't get back in it and move it. You can still jump into the gunner spot and use the gun, but you can't move the vehicle once you've hit the yellow dot. So again, I know there's going to be 2 helicopters. I know this is a little bit of a tight space. I'm going to stop here before I get to the yellow dot, and I'm going to request my active personal vehicle, which is my APC. And I'm kind of tucking myself up in here and looking straight ahead in the hopes that it will bring my APC as close to me as possible, so I won't have as far to go to get it. Unfortunately, it is halfway up the block, but that's how it goes. And I think there's no real way to force them to force your character to get into the gunner side instead of the driver's side. It seems like it's about 50-50. Sometimes it goes where I want it to, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to park this right out here because I know the helicopters are going to come over that Raven sign there. And I want to be able to be sure that I've got enough room to clear that with the missiles. And again, I'm backing this in so my driver's side door is going to be as close to my APC as possible, because they come up on you pretty quick on this one. So I'm just inching back until it forces me out. And now I'll jump in my APC. I think depending on if you hold the enter button or whatever it is, in my case I use a controller, if you hold it a little longer it might put you in the gunner side. It's not always really good at that. This is another case too where that first helicopter I took out, sometimes he'll hide behind that tree And sometimes these guys will get away and climb up on that building to my right. They'll get up on that roof. I think that's where that guy in the back is trying to get to, and I'm having a hard time. He's on the corner there. I'm having a hard time hitting him. One, because he's behind the corner, and two, because I keep hitting the carcasses of the insurgents between where he is and where I am. Yeah, see how he's going around the building? He's trying to get up. There he is. He's up on the roof of the building. Oops, sorry about that. Can't quite get him. He didn't come up to the edge, so now I've got to wait for him to get back down to the ground. The only disadvantage of using something like an Oppressor Mark II, I'll do another video and show you how I might use that one in this Insurgent sale. But one of the disadvantages, especially on this particular drop, is that these vehicles kind of get under wherever you're flying and you can't target them. So I kind of prefer vehicles that don't fly, weaponized vehicles that don't fly for these missions. So there's my 5th drop. Now, if I go just a little bit past this intersection, I'm done. But what's fun is I've still got that leave the area message at the bottom, so I'm not out of the zone since my last drop. You can sit here and blow stuff up all you want, and you don't get cops, and it's kind of fun. I think of it kind of like fireworks, not that I'm like killing people. It's just, I think it's kind of fun. I must be a pyromaniac and I just don't know. But it's fun to sit here and blow stuff up and cause a little mayhem. It's quite stressful. Oops, got a little close to the APC there. Now the ones, this is the cool part. The faster the car's going when it goes by, the further it flies and you blow it up. So that's a lot of fun. But that's, you know, I'll just sit here and blow stuff up and have a good time. So, thank you very much for watching. As always, a like for the video and a subscription to my channel are greatly appreciated. Check out the link in the video description below to my Discord channel. We've got a whole bunch of really cool people in there. We'd love to have you come and join us. We share a lot of great tips with each other, and we laugh. We have a good time. Come on in and check it out. We'd love to have you. Thanks again, and have a great day in Los Angeles. See you next time.